Hi everyone, welcome to or back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Sammy and I like to yap about books, and today I'm doing my April reading wrap up. I've actually had a really good reading month this month, so I've read 10 books and I've listened to I listened to 5 of them and I physically read 5 of them, which is actually really good for me because normally I listen to more than I physically read. Anyway, let's get into it. The first couple of books that I'm going to talk about are audiobooks, and the first one was The Good Girl by Michelle Dunne. Now, before I say anything about this book, it is really dark, so please check the trigger warnings before you listen or read this, because there are a lot of themes in this and events that happen that could be triggering for people. So please do check that before you go into it. And just while I think of it, I am going to apologise if I sound a bit puffy or out of breath. I have been struggling with my chest for a few days. The doctors have put me on an inhaler and they're going to test me for asthma. So if I sound out of puff, I apologise, because it feels like someone's sitting on my chest at the moment. So, back to the book. In this story, we are following a young woman who went through a really dark childhood with her sister. It was like neglect and abuse. And it's really harrowing to listen to, and it's so dark. But the way it's written is really gripping, and I could see this being a really good TV program. It had me hooked. I was just gripped, and basically it is about the older sister learning to live with the after effects of their childhood, and we see how that's affected her and how that's affected her younger sister. And I don't know, I felt I was heartbreaking. It was just it was so hard hitting. I think because I'm an older sister and I've got a younger sister, and I just think I could understand completely where this character was coming from. Like, you would do anything to protect your little sister. And we're led to believe something. I'm going to try and explain this without ruining it, because I don't want to ruin the plots of these books. And I had a hint in my head. I was like, is she? Or are we being bluffed here? And I was right, and it was just such a gut punch, an absolute gut punch. And it then made me feel even more sorry for the older sister, because you then realise how far in her head she's had to go to cope with what happened to them. And it's just, I just loved it. Yes, it was very dark, and it was very serious, and it was very hard hitting and emotional, but oh my god, it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, like I said, check the trigger warnings, but if you can listen and deal with these themes, I would highly recommend it, because it was just so gripping, and I absolutely loved the writing style. So cannot recommend that one enough. The second book that I listened to was Hekate by Nikita Gill. And I decided to listen to this one because it had sat on my shelf for a while, and I've been trying to get through my physical books by listening to them as well. And yeah, this basically tells us how Hekate became the goddess of witches. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit disappointed with this. Because Hekate is the goddess of witches, I was expecting something really like witchcraft based, magic, spells, like, I don't know, I don't know if I just expected too much from this, but I felt like it was just retelling mythology that we'd already, like, I'd already been told. Like, I know Greek mythology, and it just didn't bring anything new to it. So I was a little bit disappointed with it, unfortunately. I am going to keep it because it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous book. And there are parts of it that I absolutely loved. But I was just a little bit disappointed that it didn't add what I hoped it was going to add to the mythology I already knew, if that makes sense. So, a little bit disappointing, but excuse me. But, you know, you can't love every book that you read in a month. And I've had a really strong month this month. So, that was just one of my not so favourite ones from the month. The next one, I read this on my Kindle, was Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer. Oh, I love this so much. So much. So this follows a young woman who is an influencer, and her niche is she's like country cottage, organic foods, handmade clothing items, baking, all very like fresh and off the land, and like, you know, getting rid of numbers out of food, and all the like lovely home aesthetics. And she believes that the one thing that her brand is missing is a baby. And she, like, that's her main goal. She just wants a baby. She thinks that's going to be the thing to make her social media blow up, and she'll get all the followers and all the likes and everything else. And she's just not getting pregnant. And it doesn't help that her husband she feels like he's pulled away and he's not as present in their relationship, and she has an inkling that he's actually cheating on her. So they're quite a religious couple as well. So she prays for a child, and, you know, nothing happens. And then she goes to a well on their land. They've just bought this lovely new house so that she can get all of this lovely, like, aesthetically pleasing pictures and footage and all that. And she goes to the well on the edge of their land, and she makes a wish for a baby. And she takes a picture for the social media, like, oh, I wished for a baby and it worked, kind of thing. And in the photo, it looks like something is crawling out of the well behind her. And she kind of writes it off as a trick of the light, gets on with her day, etc. She then starts to have these weird dreams, and they kind of, like, these voices ask her, like, what she really wants, and obviously she's like, a baby. And these dreams get very intense, and then something happens and she ends up getting her wish granted, but not in the way that she thinks. Not in the way that she thinks. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because otherwise it'll ruin it. And oh, it was just so good. It was just, when she gets what she wants, it's nothing like how she thought it would be, and like the kind of perfect life that she wants for social media. And she has to learn to like live with that while keeping secrets from her husband and dealing with the fact that he might be cheating. And it kind of calls into question like why she's doing social media, what she wants out of social media, and then it kind of comes into question so many things, not just about like social media, but it's like a woman's place in the world, like and relationships. I just loved it. Absolutely brilliant. And the end, I could see where it was going, but I didn't care. Absolutely loved it. It was just so good. So good. So good that I actually really want a physical copy of it now. So I'll have to try and get one. But yeah, oh, I loved it. I have actually, I think it was this morning, I found there is another book called Tradwife by somebody else, and it sounds quite similar, so I want to read that as well to see what that's like. Can't remember who it's by, but I'll have to find it again. But it sounds really, really good, so we'll have to see. The next book did I listen to this one? I think I listened to this one. Was Itch by Gemma Amor. And in this story, we follow a young woman who has to move back to her childhood town. And she comes across a dead body. And she then starts to feel like bugs are crawling in her body and under her skin and in her head. And she then discovers a second body, and then she starts uncovering secrets and things start to roll from there. All the while this sensation of having bugs under her skin and being like overrun with bugs gets worse. I don't normally get like grossed out very easily by stuff like that. The way some of these scenes with the bugs were described freaked me out completely. I did not like it. It was really like, it just gave me like a shiver, and yeah. The story was good. I found it a little bit drawn out at points, and then really short on other points that I felt probably needed to be longer. There is a lot of triggering themes in this as well, again, mental health especially, and some of it's to do with folklore, and you've got like the weird villager vibe, but it's also not. So I feel like with this one, we were kind of led to believe it was one thing, and it was the thing that was the most obvious thing. And I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it like I was hoping to. I don't know. I don't know if, again, don't know if I went in with too high expectations, which I tend to do a lot with books that I've seen. Like, I heard so much about this on Instagram before I got it, and TikTok and YouTube. It was all over the place. I was like, okay, it sounds good. It sounds like folklore-y. Everybody said there was folklore in it, and there is, but it's not what I thought. And there's part of it that just didn't quite make sense. So yeah, that one as well just wasn't really my favourite, to be honest. It was decent, it just wasn't great, and it was a little bit disappointing, so unfortunately. So I then went on to listen to Rites of the Starling by Devney Perry, and this is the second book in the Shield of Sparrows series. This picks up right where we left off from book one, and it took me a while. I think I should have reread or re-listened to the first one, because I was a bit like trying to remember who's who and what was happening. But I loved it. It's so beautifully written. I can't tell you much about the story because it will just ruin it. But by the end, I was just like, oh my god, I'm worried. I'm worried for the characters. I read it and I was like, I was listening to it, sorry, and I was just like, no, please no. Yeah, I need book 3, like, as soon as possible, because I need answers. But it was so beautifully written, and the way it's written as well, you kind of start to see the truth of things, and you're kind of like, oh no, and then obviously it's like, yeah, that's it. And there's like, I don't know, there's like hints of things, and I just think book 3 could be an absolute heartbreaker, which is terrifying. But also, I just get so swept away with these books. I think how they're written is so well done and so, like, so rich. You just lose yourself in this world. It's absolutely brilliant. If you liked book 1, you'll love book 2, and yeah, I really want a physical copy to go with my physical copy of book 1. It's gorgeous book. Just such a brilliant story, and yeah, I really need book 3, but I'm absolutely terrified to find out what happened as well. But yeah, definitely go and read it or listen to it, or yeah. Oh, I read this on my Kindle. I read Serial Killer Support Group by Saratoga Schaefer. And this was so good as well. Oh my gosh. So this book follows a older sister again. I've had a theme this month of sisters, and yeah, don't know what that's about, but anyway. And the younger sister has unfortunately been murdered. She was found in a park, and the way her body was left leads the police to believe that she is the victim of a serial killer. The police don't seem to be doing much though. They seem to be very much like, it is what it is. She's another victim and we'll do what we can when we can, which doesn't seem to be very fast. So our main character, Syra, she decides to take matters into her own hands. She has a friend who works in the police force, and he finds out that there is a serial killer support group, and he kind of tells her how to get on the dark web, and she infiltrates this group. And to do this, she has to pretend to be a serial killer, and what she does is just amazing. Like I loved this book because it really blurs the lines, and it really calls into question, like, again, what would you do for somebody that you love? How far would you go to get that person justice or revenge? And yeah, it's brilliant, because when she goes to these meetings, she obviously has to pretend to be a serial killer. She takes on this persona that she writes of a female serial killer, and she gets to know all these serial killers in the group, and we get behind their like mask a little bit, and the lines start to blur though between her and her persona, and it's just genius. And I honestly thought I had worked this out pretty early, and the main character goes down the same thought pattern as I did, and then at the very end the rug is literally ripped out from under you, and it should have been obvious, but it didn't click with me until it actually all happened, and I was like, and I made the click when the character did, which was hilarious. But like, the reading experience of that was crazy. So I was reading the chapter before, and I was like, something doesn't add up. Like, you wouldn't act like this if you were the killer. And then I was like, oh my god, it's this person. And the character, the main character, did the same. And I was like, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And it was fast paced, and other things come into it, and things that happened in the past come into it. And yeah, I just found it brilliant and so interesting, because it calls into question like how easy it is for people to just flip. And I've always been fascinated with like the psychology behind people like that, because I'm just a bit of a weirdo. And yeah, I loved it, absolutely loved it. Thought it was brilliant. Yeah, can't recommend that one enough, to be fair. The next one that I physically read this even was Ghost Camera by Darcy Coates. Now this, I didn't realise this before I read it, is a compilation of short stories. And the first story is Ghost Camera, and then there are other stories after that. So Ghost Camera is basically, we follow a young woman who goes to a wedding. She does the photography for the wedding, and she finds an old Polaroid camera up in I think it's a lighthouse tower, I think. And she takes a picture with it, thinks nothing of it, puts the photo in a bag, heads downstairs and carries on taking pictures with her camera. When she gets home, excuse me, she takes the photo out and she notices that there are some figures in it that weren't at the wedding. And she slowly begins to realise that this camera actually takes pictures of ghosts. And the descriptions of these photos, oh my goodness, are just so creepy. So creepy. It genuinely, I was like, just stop taking pictures. Just stop it. But yeah, it was kind of like a slow build up for that story. And then the end was like, boom, 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 done. I was like, oh, okay. So it was a decent story. It wasn't my favourite in the book though, by far. Because I just, don't know, I didn't like connect with the characters. Maybe because it was such a short story. Don't know. But there were some really good ones in this book. So Payment for the Dead is the next one, and that is about grave robbers in, I believe it's Edinburgh. I could be wrong about that though. And they dig up someone, and it's questionable why they dig this person up, and it like calls into question like why they're doing what they're doing, and you know, like why you would cross the line into digging up graves. But that was good. It wasn't overly memorable. The next one in the book is Deathbirds. Now, this one was really creepy as well. So, this is about... how do I explain this without... So, in this story, the world has got deathbirds, and these birds appear when you're going to pass away. So they hang around places like hospitals and places like that. And the problem is, this hospital, they start to get inundated with these deathbirds. So they believe that there's going to be some kind of catastrophic event and that they're going to be inundated with patients. And something happened. I won't give it away because it will spoil it. But yeah, I thought that could have been a longer one actually, but I really enjoyed that. I thought that was enjoyable, and I liked the idea of like where it could go. The House on Boxwood Lane. This one was absolutely crazy. It was literally 7 pages, and it's very dark, very quick, and gets to the point very quickly. The Run to Broken Ridge Lighthouse. I really wanted this one to be longer. It's a ghost story, and it's about a group of friends who take on a myth, and it turns out to be true, this myth, and then they mess with the myth and things go wrong. Remains is the next one, and I liked this one. Again, it wasn't my favourite. It was a bit, I don't know, it almost felt like the start of a bigger story that could have been expanded on. But this one is about a woman whose husband passes away, and there is a belief that if you place mirrors in the room near the dead body, the soul can't escape, so it's a way of keeping him with her. Untamed Things. This was really good. So this is about, is it a young woman? It's a young woman. A young woman who is on an aeroplane heading to her friend's wedding, and the aeroplane crashes. And she survives, and one other passenger survives. And it's basically they try and get help, and there are creatures in the woods where they've landed, and it's very creepy, and it's also really, it's quite touching actually at points, because not everything is as it seems, and it's really well written. I really enjoyed it. Cathedral, this is another really short one. This is about a couple who go for a drive and come across a cathedral in the middle of nowhere, and they go inside and there's nobody in there but these weird statues. And that's all I'm going to say about that one, because things happen. It's very short, very quick, but really interesting. And if I say much more, it will probably ruin it. Now, the longest one in the book is how many pages is it? 110 pages. It's called A Box of Tapes. This one is so creepy. So, in this story, we are following a young mum who's just moved into a new apartment with her young daughter, and she finds a box of tapes in her daughter's belongings that they're like unpacking. And there's a note on top of the tapes in the box that says, "Do not watch, you will regret it." And she watches the tapes, and things start to happen that are just so creepy, and it's so well done that it's just so, like, it's so tense throughout the whole thing. And yeah, every time she watches a tape, these events, these like happenings get ramped up a bit, and the end was just, sorry about that, I had to stop because Cyril just wasn't happy. Something was outside, he was barking. Anyway, yeah, the end was so freaky, and you think it's all over, and then something happens and you're just like, oh, it might not be. But yeah, really, really, really good. I did think a little bit of it could have been a bit faster, especially like at the beginning where they're explaining a lot, and I don't really think it's needed, but yeah, really good. So overall, I really enjoyed the whole book. It did confuse me a bit why it's called Ghost Camera when it's just the first story in the book, and there are longer, better stories in there, in my opinion. But yeah, really enjoyed that, so I'm going to keep that one. The next book before this, I listened to Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. I've wanted to do a listen of the Throne of Glass series for a while, and I always do Assassin's Blade first. I know a lot of people don't, and they'll be like, what are you doing? Why are you ruining it for yourself? It's not ruining it. I love this series so much, and I remembered quite a lot actually. I didn't think I would remember as much as I did. But oh my gosh, I was like, oh, it's this bit, and then this bit's this bit, and then this person's this person. Oh. But yeah, Oh, I loved it. And I don't know if I had like boxed up my feelings about what happens at the end of that book, but listening to it and like hearing the narrator, really, she does such a good job of bringing Selena to life, and hearing her heartbreak and the description of the body. I won't say who, because if you've not read it or listened to it, I don't want to spoil it. Oh, and I knew it was coming, and I didn't remember how like, I know it was heartbreaking, but listening to it and listening to the description was just, oh, I sat at work listening to it and I was like, oh, I just, oh. But yeah, I love it. And I have all of the other ones now to listen to, so I will be listening to those next. And yeah, oh, I missed Selena so much. Love her. And I just love the world. I love that world. I love it. So yeah, can't wait to listen to the rest of them and to see what I've like forgotten and what I've remembered of like the main story as well. That'll be really interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. To round the month off, I wanted to read something a bit different, so I ended up reading some graphic novels. The first one being The Battle for Pumpkin King, and in this we follow Oogie Boogie and Jack Skellington as they take, it's like a, well, they say battle, but they're like, they try out basically for the title of Pumpkin King. And yeah, it's really quick. I think I read this in about half an hour. It's really fun. I absolutely love the art style in this, and just the story. You get to see like how Oogie Boogie got his lair and how he comes into contact with Lock, Shock and Barrel. You get like little snippets of like Jack and Sally liking each other but not being able to tell each other, and yeah, just you get to see all these characters, like all the characters that you know and love from the film. And then I love this as well because at the back you get a cover art and concept gallery, and you get like all the covers of the comic books that came out when it came out as a comic book story, and then you get like artwork. Oh, I love that picture of Jack so much with the bat bow tie. It's adorable. And then you get like Oogie, who is like young Oogie. How cute is that? And then I absolutely adored Sally and this little hair detail here. I love that so much. It's just little things. I love it. So yeah, short and sweet and a really good story. So I definitely recommend it if you are a Nightmare Before Christmas fan. I then followed it up by reading Long Live the Pumpkin Queen, which is the graphic novel to the book. And it actually follows the book pretty much word for word. And so if you've not read the book, basically in this story, excuse me, we follow Sally as the town of Halloween gets put under a sleeping spell, and she basically has to find someone to help her by going through the other doors. So like to Easter Town, to Valentine's Town and Christmas Town. and she basically has to save everyone, and in it she kind of finds her confidence to become Queen of Halloween Town and to lead the people. I didn't see, like, when I read the book, I couldn't quite tell where it was going. I obviously knew for reading this, but oh, I loved it because it really expands on what we know from The Nightmare Before Christmas. And so I would really recommend it if you are a Nightmare Before Christmas fan, because it does expand on like the lore of where characters came from and how the doors work and who knows about the doors and stuff like that. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this one. This one is a bit thicker. It took me a little longer to read, but I think it was like maybe an hour and a bit, not even that. So yeah, nice and quick and easy, and I absolutely loved it. So there we have it, the 10 books that I read this month. I really want to know what you guys have been reading and what you really liked and what you disliked. I am enjoying the ARC book that I'm reading so far. It is called We Already Dug the Grave I think it's by Emma C. Wells, if I'm correct. I will double check that. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, I'm hoping, like I said, Emma C. Wells. I'm hoping to start listening to The Throne of Glass main books now. And yeah, I'm excited. So May should be a good month. I have a lot of books on my Kindle. I've got quite a few ARC books that I'm really excited to read, so I may try and get through those first and then see where we go, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for now there, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope your reading is good. See you later, guys. Bye.